Well, I'm Paul Sadler. I'm the General Manager and the CEO at Harmac Pacific here in Nanaimo. Well, pulp's made from wood chips that come from sawmills. So it's the residue from taking something round and making square products out of it, and there's going to be some waste left behind. And so the pulp business has been born on the sawmill industry, which is used to build houses, of course. We can provide paper for making things like surgical gowns, disposable surgical gowns. We can make products like printing and writing papers, magazine papers, tissue and toweling products, you name it, we can supply a product to produce it. To be honest, packaging materials are often made with lower grade pulps from other parts of the world. So the products we make are very premium grade products and usually used in making thinner paper, finished paper grades. I think British Columbia as a whole produces the finest trees in the world for building homes, but also for making paper products. We do a lot, to be honest. A big part of it is investing in the right kinds of technology to reduce the emissions from these plants, have very capable people to run that equipment properly. That's a big deal. We audit our programs to make sure that our programs are running effectively, maintain our equipment. So the key to the success of our company is the fact the employees are 25% owners in the business. Using surplus sawdust and bark fuel that's a waste product from sawmills that's in fact very problematic to find a home for. Here at Harmac, we take that material, we burn it in a boiler, we make high pressure steam, and that steam is now runs through a high pressure turbo generator to make electricity, which we sell to BC Hydro. And that electricity is enough to power about 20,000 homes here in Nanaimo, which of course represents about 40,000 people in this community, get green electricity produced from biomass fuel locally. So half of Nanaimo's electricity is produced effectively here at Harmac. On the fiber side, 100% of the input that comes into this mill on fibers is all turned into valuable products, either wood pulp or it's turned into green power that we sell to Nanaimo. So we recover every single drop of chemical we possibly can.
I'm Madeline Thornton, and I work here at Harmac Pacific in Nanaimo, BC. I am currently the digester area supervisor. So I look after the operation and I partner up with maintenance to make sure that the area is running smoothly. I started out here working in the summer as a co-op student, as a chemical engineering student. Went back to school with big aspirations to be a doctor, but I worked here for one day and that was it. I was hooked. I was lucky enough to get a full-time job here, and then I started off as a process engineer for the digester area, and I've worked my way up to the area. Harmac started construction in 1948. The first line of production started in 1951, and then we added a second line of production in 1960, and then the third in 1963. So we have 3 pulp machines today that run 2 lines of production, and over the last 70 years we have turned this into a modern mill. Our latest upgrade was we just redid the recovery boiler floor. We've also added in wash presses in the last 5 years, and we've just installed new hog presses to help with our power generation. The pulp industry, I consider it to be one of the original recycle industries. What we do is we make our chemicals on site using kilns and recovery boilers. That's what makes our cooking liquor, and we add that to the chips, and then we break down the lignin to extract the cellulose. That is what is the main product in the pulping industry. And then once the spent cooking chemicals are washed out, they go back into our boiler and start the cycle all over again.
My name is Philip Simpson. I'm a shift engineer. I'm a day shift supervisor of the steam plant. We have lots of, if you look at our screens, we have lots of trends to make sure that we are staying within our compliance over many different permits and values that we have to follow. environmental concerns are very important to us. We want to make sure that we are meeting our permits and not exceeding them. The image here is our bed camera on power boiler 9. So we're actually burning hog fuel. What you see, the black stuff falling down is the unburned hog fuel. And then you see the fire in the furnace floor emitting from the back there. So those are the bright colors. So this is our electrical distribution panel from BC Hydro. So BC Hydro comes in on the top of our display, comes through a main breaker, separates into 2 different electrical buses, and then it goes out to our 2 different points around the pulp mill. This lovely panel is our G3 turbine control valves, outputs, and control. And this is our turbine control, or automated control system. This screen here will tell you how many megawatts we're making on generator 3. That's the turbine out in the hall. And we're making 13.5 on generator 4 at the moment. And it looks like to be we're exporting about 5 megawatts of power to the grid.
So when we mean by digesting wood, what we're doing is we're taking wood chips and we're putting them into different vessels with chemicals, and then we heat them up and we essentially cook the chips down into pulp. So where wood chips, they're made of lignin and cellulose. Lignin is the glue to the wood chip and cellulose is the straw to the wood chip, and we're cooking all that glue down so we can get the straws. So what's kind of cool about cooking is it's a little bit mysterious in how things are happening. So you put wood chips in a big vessel that you can't really see what's going on, and then all of a sudden 3 hours later you get this fluffy pulp that comes out that resembles a little bit like wet toilet paper or wet paper towel, but very dark. It needs to go through washing. The cool thing is there's 2 main types of cooking in our pulp mill. So we have continuous cooking, and then we also have batch cooking. So a continuous cooking, chips are coming in and then product is continuously coming out. Batch cooking, we fill up the vessel with chips, give it 3 hours of steam and chemicals, and then we take the product out and then we wash the pulp. Pressure cooker would probably be the best comparison. You're putting a tight seal on the pot and you're bringing it up to pressure and adding lots of heat and cooking down those wood chips to make pulp. There's 3 main products that come out of the digesters. So you've got your pulp, and then you've got your spent cooking chemicals, and then you also have our extractives. So we have thousands of natural, biological, chemical compounds that come out of wood chips.
So we have an older turbine, we call it generator 3. It's rated for, I think, 33 megawatts of power. It takes 600 pound steam from our main headers from our boilers, and we convert it down to process steam. About 3 or 4 stages in, we export 160 pound steam for process, and then we exhaust 60 pound steam out the back end. That steam is used around the mill in different processes to help cook and run different machinery. The harder the mill pulls steam, as in the more steam they consume, the harder the turbine will work. And the more work it does, the more power it'll generate. Generator 4, it's our newer turbine. It was put in back in 2012, 2013. It takes our 600 pound steam flow to the turbine and actually turns it back to water. And that water is then recaptured and re-put back into the system as treated water for the boilers. The cooling water we use is from our area, and we actually cool down the steam coming in to produce the water, and then that hot water then goes back to the mill for other uses.
I'm Cam Milne, and I'm a forester, and I work at Harmac Pacific in Nanaimo in BC. I look after the fiber supply. Fiber supply is wood chips, and those wood chips are processed into pulp, which is sold around the world to customers that produce paper and other product. We process or use about 2.1 million meters of wood a year in chip form. And just to give you a sense of what that is, that's equivalent to about 50,000 logging trucks. That wood fiber comes as a waste byproduct to the lumber manufacturing businesses, the veneer mills, and the processing of low-quality pulp logs from harvesting operations. And it includes log chunks, etc. We're using, and at one time it was considered waste. I don't like to call it waste. It's a valuable product, and it's a byproduct of another operation. So it ensures that we're fully using the fiber that we harvest from the harvesting sites. We source fiber on barge all the way from Alaska down to Oregon, and we purchase fiber in chip trucks all the way from Williams Lake through to the Okanagan, trucked down into Vancouver and offloaded and loaded on barges that we bring across here and unload at the mill site. So 30% now from the States, 30% of our fiber comes from the chipping of low-cost, low-value pulp logs and debris left on logging sites, and the remainder come from sawmills and veneer mills, most of which are on the coast and the island, some of which are on the interior all the way to Williams Lake or the Okanagan. So in addition to the 2.1 million meters of chips that we purchase, we also purchase hog fiber. Hog is bark and sawdust and shavings that are produced in the sawing process, the debarking, taking the bark off the outside of the log, and from shavings that are generated in the planer mills in sawmills. Purchase probably about 230,000 cubic meters of hog, which is burned in our hog boiler, which runs two generators that produce electricity. The electricity is used, I would say about 70-80% of the electricity is used in the pulping process. We produce steam that is used to heat operations and drive some of the drying in the plant. And the rest of the steam is used in the generators to produce electricity. And one of the generators we produce about 26 to 28 megawatts that's sold on the grid in BC. So that's green power. We are more than self-sufficient. We supply ourselves. We can run our plant on our own electrical generation, and we have surplus power green power that we sell to BC Hydro, who then sells it to the residents of Nanaimo. And that's all from what some people used to call wood waste.